Hope you all have been well. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a talkie video, and it's going to be on my acne story, just sort of when I started getting acne up till the current time. And I didn't know how beneficial it was, so I was sort of toying with the thought of this video for a while, but I figured it'd be just more of a supportive video for people who are going through the same things that I had gone through and I'm currently going through, really. And for younger kids and for adults who are getting acne for the first time, maybe this can, help you guys out. Know that there's a lot of people out there who are really going through the same things that you're going through, and basically sharing with you things that I did and didn't do, and just sort of my life story with acne. So if you want to know how my acne has sort of affected my life, or didn't affect my life for that matter, I hope you guys continue to watch. So I started getting acne around 7th or 8th grade. I can't pinpoint exactly which year, but I know for sure it was junior high. And I started breaking out primarily on my forehead, which is very weird now because I break out everywhere else. I think acne just wants to consume my entire face. So it was a really hard time for me, and I know it's a hard time for a lot of people because junior high, you're sort of wanting to get, your group of friends, really trying to find yourself. And some people are a lot better at it than others, but with acne being on your face and very physical, it's hard too, because truth be told, appearance sort of is more of a concern, I guess you could say, when you're getting into middle school and high school. And for me, it definitely was. And it was hard for me because I didn't have the luxury of the internet and the amount of information on there that we have now. I couldn't just YouTube something or Google something. The internet was sort of just really beginning, and basic websites were just being uploaded, and we really were using the internet to find pictures of your favorite NSYNC member. Guilty. And if I really wanted to find something, research was an encyclopedia, you know what I mean? So I couldn't look up the information or do the research or educate myself really on what acne was and how I could help it. So I knew what makeup was. My mom used powder foundations, and I had cousins, older cousins, that had used makeup, so I knew what it was. But I was sort of torn between two things. Did I want to be the girl with acne, or did I want to be the girl using makeup in junior high? And I'm not gonna get into the whole debate and open a can of worms about how young you should use makeup. That's a whole different topic I just don't want to touch. But when I was in junior high, it was far less more acceptable to use makeup, so I opted to just deal with acne. And I had very supportive family. I did have friends. Acne never really affected me, and I'll get more into that about how my relationship was with acne. In junior high, I definitely felt, with my mentality as a 12, 13-year-old, I felt alone. I felt it hurt a lot. It was really hard for me, and I put a lot of that pressure on myself. But junior high was when it all started, and I started to be really self-conscious about how my face was and how people would view me and think of me if they were to see my face up close. So that was junior high. Now when I got to high school, that's when I started getting cystic acne. Those big pimples, and it started going on my cheeks, and I still have a lot of scarring that I know happened in high school because I didn't know how to take care of my skin. So I knew that in high school, and I remember the time specifically where I just said I have to do something about this, because I kept thinking about it and it really put me down a lot of the time. And so I remember one Saturday or Sunday morning, had to be a weekend. I love watching infomercials, not now, but I did. So I was watching it one morning, and I remember seeing the Proactive infomercial, and it was way back when it just started. And you know, there are a few before and after pictures. You know, Justin Bieber is probably still in diapers. So it really just started out, and I remember running to my mom and saying, Mom, I want to try this. And my mom was like, okay, we'll give it a try. Write down the phone number, we'll give them a call, order it, and it was done. So I remember getting the box and I was so excited, and I read through every pamphlet that was in that box, and I made sure that I stuck to whatever they told me to do, because I was certain that this was going to work for me. And I stuck with it. I did everything to a T, no joke. If you have acne and you want to get rid of it, you make sure that you are following everything. So I did the routine, and I started getting really irritated on my face. My face was drying up and it was burning, and I didn't care because I thought that it was gonna just clear my skin up, peel everything away. And I stuck with it a couple boxes, maybe 3 or 4, and really I didn't see a difference, and it ate away at me because I knew of 2 other people in the school that had tried it too, and it worked for them. And it frustrated me because I didn't know why it wouldn't work for me. So I gave up on it, and then a couple years later, you know, towards, you know, graduation, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try again, because I didn't know of anything else, any other acne treatment. So I said, you know, Mom, can we try Proactive again? And so I did, and really nothing. I didn't use foundation when I was in high school, again, just because I'd rather be the girl with acne than the girl using a whole bunch of makeup, because no one was really using foundation in high school back then. I make myself sound like I'm so old. I'm not. But back when I was in high school, yeah, not many people are using foundation, and I refused to be the girl that did, because I sweat so much that it would just melt off my face. I knew that it was just gonna be a hot mess. So high school was pretty tough for me because I was getting acne everywhere else, and so all the other times that I wasn't using Proactive, I was just using a bar of soap to wash my face. Which brings me into college. So when I moved away for college, I lived with some of my best friends, and they had been using facial wash. And this is gonna make me sound like so caveman about this, but I really didn't know what facial wash was. Now, in my defense, you have to know what my family's like. My family members have no acne. They don't have to deal with it. So when I was in junior high or in high school, seeing them wash their face with regular soap, I thought, you know, maybe that's how you get rid of acne. They didn't know any better. And it's not to say that my family didn't care. My family is very supportive of me, and they knew how much it bothered me, but they didn't know how to help me because they weren't going through it. So when I saw facial wash for the first time, well, not for the first time, I always knew what it was, but I never used it. So using it and going to the stores and, you know, Walmart and whatnot, because we don't have Walmart here, seeing that there's so, you know, multiple types of cleansers that do multiple different things, it was very eye-opening for me. So I started using facial cleanser, and I did see a slight difference, but nowhere near what an acne regimen or treatment would do, but it did help some. So I slowly began educating myself, but nowhere near to the point where I could actually really try things out, actual medications. So what did I decide to do? I decided to try Proactive again. Dumb me. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing. And I stuck with it. I stuck with it a lot longer than you would when to first see results. A lot of people say try it for 3 months. I did for, you know, 5, 6, and still didn't see a difference in my skin. And so I just gave up on Proactive. I just knew it wasn't for me, and I stopped. But I did realize that the skin or refining mask, I think it's this thick white cream that you dot on certain spots, that works absolutely amazingly on my skin. But the whole regimen, my skin wasn't having it. Then my whole YouTube love started coming full force. I was watching YouTube videos a lot. So I was really feeding into my love for makeup. I've always loved makeup. Granted, hair was my first passion since I was like, you know, yee-high. But I really love makeup, and so I was watching a lot of videos, and this is when I started getting into foundations and wanting to dabble in it a little bit. So I was watching a lot of videos on foundation, primers, really how to cover up your acne. So I was more focused on covering it up because I didn't know how to get rid of it, or didn't know enough, or didn't know how to get the information to get rid of my acne. So I just opted to cover it up. And God bless Google and YouTube, but I'm grateful that I did, because now I'm not amazing at foundation or anything, but I know how to cover up my skin, and I know that it's because I've watched videos and know, you know, sort of the tips and tricks of how to go about covering up acne. But in terms of skincare and how to help you know, get rid of the acne itself, I didn't care. I was just, foundation's gonna cover it up. And you know, it's a really bad mentality to have, but having had no success in everything that I've tried so far, I just sort of was like, I'll do makeup. But I will say that now that I look back at it, I feel really bad that I did that to myself. Because, and I know I'm not the only one that does this, girls, we spend so much time trying to perfect our makeup. When we want to go out and we want to, you know, look really good, we can spend an hour or even more trying to perfect the way we look. But when you get home and you're tired and you know, all the partying and all the fun is done, sometimes we get a bit too lazy to take off the makeup. So we sort of suffocate our skin, and this leads into the whole idea that, you know, not taking off your makeup creates acne. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it doesn't, because really sometimes it does. You know, clogging up your pores and not taking off all the makeup and letting it build bacteria on it, it ultimately will affect your skin. I don't see how it can benefit it in any way. But it's not fair to say that, you know, as some people, I'm not saying everyone, it's not fair for them to assume that that's the only reason why we get acne, because I got acne before I started using foundation, and I still get acne with a good skincare routine. So it doesn't just boil down to not washing your face. And, you know, that can be pretty, you know, it can hit at you and eat away at you, because, you know, no one wants to feel like they're dirty. And I know that I wash my skin probably a lot more than a lot of other people, and I try to take care of my skin a lot because I'm dealing with it. And people that aren't dealing with it or don't know too much about it sometimes assume that it's because we have dirty skin. But, you know, trying to take the time to observe what affects your skin can definitely help. It wasn't until I got older that I noticed that come the time of the month, I get breakouts, or when I drink soda, I get breakouts, and those are the two main factors for me. But it took me a while to sit down and really think, okay, I'm gonna see what happens next month. Lo and behold, I got more pimples than I usually do. So observing how certain things affect your skin is a great way to know how to avoid it sometimes, if at all possible. But yeah, washing off your skin very well. Take the time to make sure that all the makeup you put on is carefully taken off. And I think that way your skin breathes a lot better and you're less prone to get acne. But I was just throwing it in there because I know some people think that you get acne because your face is dirty, and it's not always the case. You know, sometimes it may even be genetics, because, you know, my mom was telling me that my dad had horrible acne when he was younger. So who knows, it might have just been genetic as well. But yeah, that's just my thought on why we get acne. I don't think it's fair for some people to just say that it's because we have dirty skin, because that may not be the case all the time, but it could be, is what I'm saying. And here we are now on YouTube. I finally decided to make my channel, and this is where skincare and taking care of my skin really started. When I first started making videos, and you can, if you've seen my videos, then you know, and if you haven't, you can just click randomly through my videos and know that my skin has definitely changed from the first video that I put up. And that really is in large part to educating myself and finding a routine that works for me. And I know this may sound, I don't know, a bit too much maybe, but it really does require a lot of money. Lord knows it takes a lot of money to try different things out and find what works for you. And why am I so white on this camera? Finding what works for you and what doesn't work for you and trying things out. It wasn't until I got a full-time job, really, till I could afford to get things here and there. You know, had this been college or high school, I probably wouldn't have been able to get as much or try as many things. But it does require spending money. But at the same time, the benefit you get from finally finding things that work for you, maybe not completely, but definitely making a drastic change on your face, it's worth it at the end of the day. So definitely trying things out and seeing how they work for you. If you're not good with a strict regimen that's already set, like Proactive or, you know, other skin treatments, you may need to try different things out. And what I did was I started with moisturizers, which one did I like the best, and then I moved on to, you know, toner, or what else, you know, acne treatment. And now I have a set routine that I'm very happy of. I'm not claiming to have perfect skin at all, but if this is the skin that I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life and not have it get any better than this, I would be perfectly happy and content, because this has been the best my skin has ever been since I was in the 7th grade. So yeah, that's my story on living with acne. Now on to how I dealt with acne. I was really lucky growing up in that I had friends, and that my relationship with people wasn't affected by my skin. I was never teased by it. I can't think of a specific time when I was teased about my acne, and I think that would have stuck with me had it happened. And my family has been very supportive. They know that it did hurt and it was hard for me, and they did everything they could really to make me feel like it shouldn't have mattered. I remember my mom, I would always tell her how hard it was for me, and she would always tell me, you know, if people didn't like it, if they ever told you that they didn't like it, their head could turn around, and you can just say, you know, if you don't like what you see, turn your head. So God bless my mom. In all, I put the worst pressure on myself. I made myself feel the worst about my skin, and it was hard for me to accept that I did that to myself, because looking back, I could have done a lot more things and should have been a lot more open. And I held back a lot because I didn't like the way my skin looked, or, you know, I was afraid what people might say or think about me. That really made me push away from everyone else. And, you know, at the end, it was just me. It wasn't my friends, it wasn't my classmates, it wasn't the people around me, it wasn't my family, it was me. Just me. I was putting all of that on myself, and it's pretty sad thinking about it now. But as I got older, I started getting the and part of my French, I don't give a shit attitude, where, you know, sure, if I wanted to go out, I would get all dolled up with my friends and stuff, just like any girl would. But I didn't have to put on makeup just to go out, regardless whether or not I had good skin. And that attitude that I had wasn't towards anyone that I knew, or the relationships that I had with people. That attitude was to the former mentality and way of thinking that I had, sort of a big fu, and I'm gonna live my life regardless of whether I have this huge bump on my face, because I can't let that run my life or make the decisions for me. And I'm not sure if that's something that just comes with age and you just really don't care too much about what people think of you, but you really shouldn't let what people think of you affect you so much so that it takes away from you really living your life. And I know it's going to be hard to have that mentality. Lord knows I know what it was like growing up as a young kid and feeling all of those things. I used to be that way. I think of how I let myself feel that way because, as a kid, it's hard. You don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And the thought alone of people possibly talking about you or feeling disgusted by you, the thought alone is scary. But thinking that, if people were to stare at me, so what? I can't pretend that I don't have acne. It's there. But oh well. I can't let this stop me from doing the things that I want to do, because honestly, yes, sometimes it's hard to do. But ultimately, one of the best things you can do is just give it the finger and move on, because that mentality will definitely mess with your head. And for people that don't know what it's like, it may seem very foolish to think that way, but if you live with acne and it affects you the way that it does, especially for girls, it's hard. And to change the way you think requires time. So I'm not expecting 12, 13-year-olds who are just experiencing acne and feeling like their whole world is turned upside down. It's normal to feel that way. But wanting to change that and doing that as early as possible, I promise you, will help you in the future a lot more than you think. I'm a bit more open. Not to say that I wasn't before. I wasn't completely shut off from the rest of the world, but I did hold back a lot more than I do now. And I'm grateful that somehow, I don't know what it is, but the way I think changed. And I'm very happy that it did. So in conclusion, wrapping this whole business up, first, educate yourself. Do your research, find out what's out there. If you can, try it out, watch videos on it, read about different things people are going through, their triumphs and things that didn't work, and really knowing what's out there. Know that not everything is going to work for you. So many people have had successful stories with Proactive, and look at me. So definitely trying things out if you can. Try one or two things every now and again. It's not the most affordable thing to do, but if you want to get rid of acne, sometimes it's what you have to do. So really try your best and read up on things first and reviews and things like that before making the final decision. I know that sometimes I did research for weeks before I decided to finally fork up the money to buy the product, and not just go on a whim. Sometimes maybe you might want to try that to see if it works for you and be the first success story. But I advise that sometimes you really take the time to see how people have reacted to it, because you don't want something horrible to happen to you, especially if it's a very strong medication. So educating yourself and researching is a very vital part, I think, of helping you with the acne, treatment. But I also please advise you, especially you young kids out there that hopefully are watching this video, know that this too shall pass. Basically, it doesn't seem like that, and the way you think and the way you view how your life would be in the future may not be as optimistic as you would like, because it's hard and it's painful, and sometimes people can be really mean about it. But if you accept it and know that, you know, I may be able to fix it, or I may not. It may get better or it may not get better. Knowing that and preparing yourself mentally for that alleviates any further upset, I guess you could say. If you try something out and it doesn't work, hey, there's always something else. And you know, even if I had this huge bump on my face, I could still travel the world. I can still, you know, paint. I can still do all of these things. It's not, it doesn't stop me from it. What stops you is yourself and things that happen up there. Find the strength in yourself to start that change early on, and I promise you it will help you and benefit you in the future. I promise. This is the hardest part. The mentality of it all. And I know that I don't speak just for myself. We are our hardest critics when it comes to what we view people are seeing or what we think people are seeing. And you know, sometimes they're not thinking anything of it. So change what happens up here. Give it the big finger and just, you know, move on. So I hope you guys found this video informational or I don't know, interesting. But if you have any questions about anything that I mentioned, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or if you would prefer, send me a message on my channel and I promise I will get back to you. So till the next video, hope you guys are all doing well and taking really good care of yourselves. Bye.